During this Mental Health Awareness Month, the Wellness Universe brings together compassionate experts such as myself and Nicole here today to shift the conversation from stigma to support. With so many navigating emotional overwhelm, our mission here is to offer holistic, accessible tools to nourish body, mind, and spirit. So thank you so much for attending today's session live and the recording later and supporting the Mental Health Awareness 2025 event. A portion of the proceeds today supports a nationally recognized mental health organization and the Wellness Universe. We are grateful for your Pay What You Can donation. There's a link in the chat right here to make that donation if you would like to do so. And at session's end, you're going to receive an email pop-up. Please leave a rating and review as this helps us to promote and offer even more incredible events for your well-being journey. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll leave you over to Nicole.
Thank you, Nacy, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone. I'm Nicole Batiste, Success Through Inner Peace Coach, and my intent with this session is the idea to give you something else to think about. Because right now we think about stress as in when things are going crazy and just feeling overwhelmed and anxious, but there are other ways to some other things that can kind of sneak up on you. And so I kind of want to talk about that with regards to stress and how we can eliminate that. So, and I'm excited to just have this conversation with you, Nacy.
Oh, I'm as well. My ears perked up when you shared your take on stress management. My take is similar to yours, but also my own expertise and moving forward from the external, getting all of our roles, duties, obligations met, checking those boxes, bringing on more and more. And as a result of that, feeling physically and emotionally exhausted, depleted, or overwhelmed, starting to feel like you're fatigued, you're just running behind. Just being able to unpack and navigate the ins and outs of our everyday lives in a way that versus feeling overwhelmed, left behind, running behind, we're able to stay in the moment, but have means to self-regulate, to calm our nervous system down, and to lovingly manage and handle everything versus wanting to hide or just continue thinking we need to do more and more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. That more and more and more, that is indicative of especially the Western world. It's like slowing down is not popular yet. That's my goal, is to hope to get people to just slow down and get into stillness. But I love how you talk about helping people work through getting their nervous system in a better place. And when I do the clearing, which is what I use to help with stress management, that's one of the things that gets addressed as well. So it's like we can go hand in hand with what we do. So you can help identify, like, where is that? I look for the root of why we're doing. And there's a lot of times living to other people's expectations that creates that need, or that feel like they need to do that. Or it could even be a human design chart. There's so many different things that we can consult to see, like, where is that stemming from? What would you say is some of the biggest challenges that you address on a regular basis with regards to stress?
One of them actually is this disconnect, this sense that you are in the game of life, supposedly handling your obligations, roles, duties, but having this disconnect with our own needs and wants in a way that we're handing these off to this supposed otherness that will never happen. Or maybe thinking that we're waiting for somebody to give us permission or a break in this. I love that. I'll do this when I have a break in my schedule, when all of the busyness calms down, when I have a moment. Well, we only have we have 24 hours in the day. We don't have more, we don't have less. It is what it is. And waiting for and looking for moments or permission to bring ourselves into the day we are constantly going to be always waiting and looking. So um, moving from disconnect into connecting back in to the fabric of our lives in a way that allows us to take care of all these things and not making it an either or if
Yeah.
only.
Yeah, that either or, all or nothing mentality is a hard one to break. Sometimes you don't even recognize it, right? And that's that's a lot of things that I work with, is just helping people recognize those patterns of language, those patterns of thought that will keep them stuck and in this loop of things they don't, places they don't want to be, things that they keep revisiting. They're like, I don't understand why I can't get out of this. So I love that you brought that up. And that disconnect is, we're going through a book right now on grief, and that's one of the things actually that we talk about, is that disconnect. Yeah, because it's not just the grief that we're familiar with when we lose someone or a relationship. It's also the grief of things that we thought that we should receive but didn't, or things
Mhm.
that people who, the person we used to be and who we're becoming. So that grief can also create some stress as well when you're in a phase of like resisting what's happening or not accepting what's going on. So yeah, just really getting to look at what's underneath this drive that you have. Is it something that's coming from within you? Is it coming from without? Trying to meet expectations or assumptions of who you're supposed to be or who you're supposed to show up as supposed to. So I love that you have those conversations. Go ahead.
Yeah, I that just brings up a whole nother one. Where is this energy coming from when it comes to feeling the charge or energy of stress, which can come in the form of emotional. You've got the anger, frustration, overwhelm, just over analyzing in your head. And then you feel all of a suddenly just exhausted, or you're a brain fog, not able to think clearly. All of those
Mm-hmm.
little nudges, those are little nudges that sometimes become a hard push or shove, and sometimes just play in the background, that as we begin to take and notice that, then we have a place to move from being disconnected from
Mm-hmm.
into connecting to, what is it, what's going on here that's not being met, or what could be that will allow me to just take a break, get some rest. What do I need based on, and it's also season to season. I love that. So maybe what once served us at one point in our life for connecting or feeling de-stressing is not going to serve us now. So it's not like a one size fits all, or this thing is always going to help. And maybe it is that foundational piece. So I encourage and work with my clients. One of the things I work with them on is to come up with and establish a deeply personable routine, typically at the beginning of the day, but for some it's evening routine,
Mm-hmm.
to connect them to themselves outside of all of the being, the doing, the checked boxes, the hamster wheel. So what do you think about that? Yeah, I love your comment, Leah. Feeling exhausted with brain fog is a sign it's time to take a break and recalibrate.
Yeah. So a couple of things came up through that with what you shared, and also with Leah's comment, is
Mhm.
that we look at that as normal. That's normal. That's what's supposed to happen. That's just what happens. But it doesn't have to be normal, and it shouldn't be normal. Like we, our body needs rest. And my goal and hope is to um, really encourage more of it, and not in a guilt. Like to release the guilt, to release the fact that it feels like you're not doing anything. Because if you when when babies are first born, they have, how many is it? I should know, but something, millions and millions of, all of, like, their brain is not put together right yet, right? All of those connections that we have in our brains for memory and talking and all that, they haven't been connected yet in babies' brains. So when we think they're sleeping, their brains are like working their butts off, right? Repairing and connecting and growing. When we're resting, our brains are recuperating, recovering. So that rest will help prevent that exhaustion and that brain fog if we're being consistent with it. So I love that you brought up routines. I talk about routines as well. Um, and just normalizing not getting to a place of exhaustion and burnout and just running yourself into the ground at the expense of your health, right? A lot of times I say, especially with people with day jobs, I'm like, if you were to not come to work tomorrow because you were no longer on this earth, your job would figure it out. So what are you working on that is so important that you can't take care of yourself? Right. So is because people have a tendency there. It's like, I don't want to let my coworkers down. I don't want to let my boss down. And I'm like, I get that. And that is very considerate. Also, you are going to put yourself into a position where you're going to end up letting them down because you're going to you might go into the hospital putting yourself, because you wear yourself so thin that, you end up having to, so.
That's not worth it either, thinking that we have to shoulder the weight of our, our career or personal life that comes at the expense of our own life. And then all of the energy and time we spent supporting, helping, doing for the career or personal, which I'm not diminishing that at all. That matters. Yeah. We have depleted we've got that disconnection piece. We've depleted ourselves, and it's in our country as well. And I put a comment in there. We just have this energy current of our worth being tied to being busy. It doesn't, like that, as if that's a badge of honor, something that we just embrace. Wow, I must, I'm making myself valuable, seen, noted, noticed. I've got something to show for my existence here by here's what I accomplished or completed or I'm doing. Yeah. And again, we disconnect and diminish that not doing anything is equally valuable because we are replenishing, renewing, and, building ourselves up. It's part of the foundation. I've learned that the hard way. A couple years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, I had severe insomnia with severe hair loss. Not a good thing. And then of course I was ruminating on, why am I losing hair? I can't sleep. So I made it worse. So it was a hamster wheel. And it forced me to really begin to pull back. What was my role in this? I can blame the world or events in my life, but rather than staying stuck, what were things that were on me to do to care for myself? And I really took a step back and brought in, again, stress management. There's multiple wheels. It's lifestyle, diet, exercise, sleep, emotional, social. It's not one thing, it's part of the whole. So I had a health crisis, and that got me to, wow, okay. And then I was already doing things. That's what's I'm a practitioner, but life happens. So again, don't beat yourself up if you find yourself in a health or issue, emotional, mental, physical. We are human, but then lovingly, with curiosity, compassion, what is all of this telling me that is in my best interest to do? What is your experience with your clients or yourself been with that, Nicole?
Yeah, it's mostly about, and I just want to address Jean's comment real quick. She was saying that her hubby were working hard and hadn't met their goal on something, but they were close and took every effort to stop working and breathe and rest. I hear you, Jean. That is me. I'm like, I'm almost there. I want to keep going. And then I think about the next morning at how my day goes when I don't get that rest. It feels like I am just walking through mud. Like it's so much harder because I do have a morning routine. I'm up every morning to meditate online live at 5:30, and so I have to make sure that I stop at a decent time and get to bed at a decent time. Otherwise, it's just not good. But
Yeah.
so as far as with my clients, the biggest things are, one, implementing the routine, but not just implementing the routine. It's like, what works for you, understanding how they navigate through things, what motivates them, encourages them, inspires them, more so inspires, like what resonates most with them, creating that, but also just being very mindful of the words, that taking that ownership, like you talked about. He's like, what is it with me that I can do to change this? It's the medical system has a tendency to force people to look outside themselves for the things that they're dealing with. But a lot of times it's on the inside, right? It's how you think about things, how you process things, how much you listen to the left brain that likes to make up stories when it doesn't have the answers to everything. We're really just being very intentional about your words, because that's energy, and that energy, your body's listening. So if you're talking about, they kill me by doing this, like, those words matter. Your body's like, oh, we're supposed to be slowly, we're supposed to be dying, we're supposed to be stressed. This stresses me out. Even just saying that just gives your body permission to get stressed out. So it's just like, how can I say things in a more positive, progressive, life supporting way? That part is like the biggest. I love the energy aspect of the way we speak about things and the way we process things. So that's why I just get them. We just have conversations about how we talk about our situations, how we talk about ourselves, because that was one of my things I had to learn how to work through. The ailments that I dealt with were more a cause of how I spoke about things and how I perceive things more than anything else. So Eileen shared something in the chat.
Yeah, I'm going to read that because that's beautiful, or you can. Eileen says, it's been my big challenge as I've gotten older and made changes to my life to decide the balance of working and not working. I've decided to work because what I'm doing is so meaningful and important to me. I've also learned to follow my body by allowing myself to nap, sleep, eat really well. Lately, I found a way to go swimming a few days each week. It's about a balance. I've learned that doing only 3 hours per week, that is the opposite of what else we do, gives us balance. Yeah, that's beautiful. And getting enough good sleep is very important, as I learned, Charlene. Yeah, it's, again, giving ourselves permission to step into and navigate our life. Like, you're right. When I was not sleeping, had severe insomnia and hair loss, I made it worse, because then I was saying, what's going on? Something bad's happening. I'm so stressed. I can't figure it out. I wade into that area. And it's true, that which you focus on, whether it's something that is life affirming or not, your mind is going to bring that into your spirit, your emotion is going to make it more so. And that's when the ability of having a mindfulness practice, it doesn't even need to be a practice. It's just moving from running forward into the myriad of things that we do every day in our careers and personal, and just, noticing if you're feeling, I call it a charge or resistance or a trigger, instead of just pushing past that and like, oh, whatever, this comes with the territory. Ask yourself, what is this? What am I needing to notice, learn, or receive as a result of feeling all of a sudden resistance, triggered, anxious? There's a nugget in there that's here to inform us about our next best step. Maybe that next best step is just to take a slow, full, deep breath to get yourself out of your mind, which you can't do anything when you're ruminating big time, as I know, and into your body, into your heart. That's where we can make those informed decisions. And I do know, because I'm here. Although a lot of the stress that I've had in my life, even just a few minutes ago, it just makes itself flourishes when I'm like ultra focused on that. So I
Mhm.
continue to learn that lesson every day. It's not a one. What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, the stresses I have is mostly because I like to do so much and help so much, and I, especially in human design, I am a projector, so I don't have sustainable life force energy, and I tend to forget that, and I tend to push past my limit and don't recognize it, especially if I'm in someone else's aura and absorbing their energy. It's not until I step away that I'm like, oh, I'm tired. So it's me just being learning kind of where that point is before I get there, so that I don't wear myself out, because it makes it harder for the body to recover, right? It starts to
Mhm.
wear on your immune system, it starts to wear on your brain, and then I meditate twice a day, and if I go beyond that and I don't get my meditation in, it makes my meditation practice not as productive as well either. So um, just understanding, knowing yourself, knowing where your limitations are, kind of taking note of that in a way that, out of curiosity, right? Not out of judgment, not out of shoulds
Yeah.
or coulds or I wish I. It's just being curious and then making the choice or the decision to, okay, this is where I want to be. I like the way this feels more so than when I'm here. So I'm going to make the conscious effort to do the things that keep me here, or get me here. But if I lapse, I'm also not going to go into
Mm.
this despair like I used to do and get mad at myself and frustrated and judge and be hard on myself, because what gets rewarded gets repeated, and I want to
Mm.
reward the type of energy and life pattern that is life sustaining and helps me evolve, because that also gives other people permission to do the same. So I know we got a couple of comments in the chat.
Yeah.
Let me see. First was Eileen.
Mhm.
She was saying, Leah, as a single parent, I was advised when I sought help because I felt like I didn't have enough time to get everything done, to start saying aloud, there's enough time for everything. I had trouble at first saying this because I felt like it was a lie. So I started adding, I may not see it right now, but there's enough time for everything. I love that, Eileen. Thank you for that. And Jackie shares, so
Yeah.
difficult to give one's self care, kindness, and peace when our chosen path has disappeared and we feel so overwhelmed by constant external pressures. I feel I lost my life's passion and career decades ago, with little spark joy now, especially with when concurrent health issues, um, an unhappy but somewhat inescapable home life, so many responsibilities foisted upon me that I feel I'm unequal to constant pain, fatigue, destructive dopamine seeking behaviors, because I discovered that I'm severely ADHD, but we haven't been able to manage it yet. I end up in bed far too often, haven't had my dog home in months because I'm too unhealthy to properly care for her, but miss her so much. Um, Jackie, that is a lot. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
um, there's so many places to start with that. I hope you're allowing yourself to receive some self-compassion. And like, if you look at that whole situation, that is a lot to manage, and you still showed up. Look at you here today. So celebrating that aspect. Um, but yeah, I getting to a place where you're like, you know what, this is where I'm at. This is what I want to do. Because it can be, so just in doing work in the session a moment ago before going live here, one of the energies that we cleared was with, what was it? With healing. People had a resistance to healing unconsciously, right? And so what that does is, when you have that unconscious resistance and you don't recognize it, and I'm not blaming anyone, things happen that tend to create more unhealthy patterns, behaviors, experiences, until you recognize that that's what's going on, and that it's okay and it's safe to be healthy, and it's okay to start to care for yourself. So those are things that sometimes we have those hard conversations with ourselves, or with me. I have a lot of those hard conversations with people. It's because it's one I had to have with myself. The unconscious addiction to being sad. That was mine. And that, of course, brought a lot of hard and heavy experiences that I ended up learning to grow through, but not initially. So, which of course brought in more stress. So made sleeping harder, made other things harder. So just recognizing those things helped me, and I help others with that.
Something that's bubbling up right now, like, thank you so much for your open, vulnerable sharing, Jackie. That is just by sharing that, sending you love, a feeling of lifting of that. That's the first step, is being able to share that. So I thank you. Space for you. With that, one of the things that came to me during my time of my health crisis was that, yes, I was aware that I was beginning to hyper focus on not feeling good and not having health. And that, that took me into a place of sitting in that more heavier, low frequency emotional energy. And from there, the door became more narrow, more closed. And I had a moment in the midst of all that, was what was it that could help me move forward? And for me, that was being able to find and foster, in the midst of being unclear, calm and peace. Because in the moment, I had no calm and no peace. I was on this emotional roller coaster of feeling really anxious, riding the waves of, any given moment. And calm and peace were not present. So for me, one of my answers came in: how can I, where I'm at today, bring in a deeper, tangible sense of calm and peace, even when things are unknown, not supposedly going well, when there's everything at any given moment? What is within me that is mine, and has nothing to do with external issues or my condition, that I can bring in and open up and have calm and peace? That's my life raft. And it wasn't a one and done. Didn't just happen. But I began to focus on a spark each day of bringing in calm and peace. What did that look like for me? Well, one of the things that I am able to do and I enjoy doing is going on a daily walk. During that walk, I shut my phone off. It was maybe one day it was a 10-minute walk, some days longer. I focused on all the good of being out on that walk. I brought that good energy into me. Maybe I focused on that I had the ability to eat a healthy meal, even if feeling, on a roller coaster. So that was a big open door for me, and one that I really lean on every day, which the unknowns happen in any given moment. What can I do to stay in the energy of more open, abundant, calm, and peace? That really stabilizes me and is a foundation against the backdrop of having a health condition, a health issue, of feeling like you are hoisting the burden of life on your shoulder. That is a gift that we owe to ourselves, that we can cultivate deep within. And I'm looking at the timing right now, some more comments, but I know Nicole and I each have a little tool we would like to share with you. So I will open the floor up to you to make some comments, Nicole. Maybe we can bring our tools in the next little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the one thing that came to mind as you were sharing that is, if you do have a health condition, your mindset really does matter about it. And I know it can feel like that your body has betrayed you, but it's really just sending you messages. And just like Nacy said earlier, just get curious about what those messages are. And then that's, once you get to that place of acceptance and curiosity, then you can find the next best step. And some of those are potentially the tools that we'll share. So Nacy, I think when we spoke earlier, my tool like led really well after yours. I can't remember. Was it yours? You've used your, I think it kind of like, they seem to play well with each other. So I'm gonna let you do yours first, okay, and then I'll do mine.
All right. So my tool is one that's very simple and easy. It's got 4 little parts. It's called the 4 R's of stress management. And maybe Leah can drop that in the chat. So it's the four R's. The first one is recognize. So awareness, that self-awareness piece, that dropping out of your head into your heart, into the moment, is the first step toward bringing in change. So recognizing, pause and notice, like if you're feeling that charge, that trigger, that anxiety, that starting to spin, notice and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Invite yourself, and everyone right here in this live session, invite yourself to identify how you're feeling right now. Identify any physical tension. Maybe it's in your chest, shoulders, neck, back, hips, knees, ankles, shortness of breath. Notice any emotional sensations. Maybe it's that undercurrent, anxiety, overwhelm, anger, frustration, or a lot of mental chatter. So simply, without judgment, with curiosity and compassion, inviting yourself to notice your physical and emotional sensations. We use that phrase, name it to tame it. You can say, I'm feeling it in my chest right now. Ooh, anxious, whatever that is. So recognition. Second, after we recognize it, you have permission to release this. Let your body lead the way. We can do this. We're going to do this with a very short and brief breath connect. So releasing what you've recognized. Simply taking a moment, you can feel your feet on the floor, your body in the chair. We're going to take in, deep from your rib belly, a slow, full inhalation breath. When it gets to the top of your head, hold that for a moment. Slowly exhale that breath. Release it all the way down, down, down into your belly. Hold for a moment. Place your hand on your belly and perhaps one on your heart. That is the releasing. You can do this simple breath that we did. You can do this several times or 3 times. This allows that tension to move out of the body and to calm your nervous system. So recognize, release a breath. Now we've done that. We're ready to move on and to embrace the goodness. We're going to recenter. So you've released it. You've recognized it, released it. Now recenter. What do I need most right now? Invite a self-kindness check-in. Ask, what's the most supportive thing I can do for myself in this moment? Example, coming up with, I'm allowed to take a pause. I'm doing my very best. A grounding technique, placing yourself physically in the room, in your chair, feeling your feet physically on the floor. Imagine you've got grounded, beautiful roots flowing from the soles of your feet, connecting you to Mother Earth, whether you're in a 12-story building, high rise, or you're literally outdoors or in this moment. Doing this, these recentering helps to ground you, creating emotional stability and personal authority within the moment with that positive affirmation and that physical grounding. Finally, the last one is cultivating a positive response of what you want going forward. Now you get to choose how you get to show up. You've cleared the space of that heavier energy and you're back in that moment, asking, what is the next small step I can take from this grounded state? This can be a calm conversation within yourself. I care about myself. I love myself. You can literally step outside, notice what's going on, go for a walk, or simply continuing with your task with greater open, proactive, positive connection. You have the choice to choose. And this little step, recognize, release, recenter, and respond to the 4 R's, is one little tool to help you move when you're feeling tense, anxious, overwhelmed into a more grounded connectedness. There you go.
I love it. I love it. And Serena, yes, from a grounded state. I love that Serena put that in the quotes. What is my next best step from a grounded state? Because if you're still in fight or flight, your cognitive brain, the brain with the executive center is not engaged. You cannot think straight. You will not be able to think clearly. So yes, getting to a calm state is very helpful when you need to decide what is my next best step. And my tool is scan the room. It's very simple. You can do this in any environment you're in. If you feel like you're anxious or you're stressing, you just can't think straight. If you just stop for a moment and just look around the room and you can focus on a color, you can focus on the letter of the alphabet. You can do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5 things that are the color purple, 4 things that are the color green, 3, and go that way. Or you can use the alphabet, 5 things that start with the letter A, or have a letter A in it if you don't have a lot of things that start with the letter A, 4 things that have the letter B or start with the letter B. It's just scanning the room, because what that does is it gets you out of that rumination. It breaks the cycle of that thought that you're stressing over or you're anxious about. And it's fun. If you're in an office setting, if you're in a meeting, you can look at how many ties are blue, how many people are wearing a yellow shirt or something like that. Just find something else to focus on and get you out of where that stressful thought or that anxious thought is, and it gets you back into where you are in this present moment. It pulls you back into this present moment, because you can't be thinking about the other thing if you're looking around for something that's in your immediate area. So if you want to share in a chat and just do that quick game, we'll just do a 3, 2, 1. Like, what are 3 things in your area right now that are the color brown, I should say. I was like, my desk, my eyes, my lamp. Yeah, you're here. And what are 2 things that are, what's another color? Green. I know Nacy has plants in there. I have a plant. I have a little bank that I've had since I was a kid. That's green. And what's one thing that's orange? Your cats. Wendy, what color is your cats? You have anything orange in your space? I think I have. Do I have anything orange in my space? But look, it got me out of like what we were thinking. Yeah, in your book, right? The colors in your book. Yeah. So it's just it can increase like appreciation for things that you have. I know. I guess we can make us realize that we need to add some color to our room. No, we don't need to. But I think I have some books that may have some orange lettering on it. But it gets you out of what you were thinking before, right? So if you were at any point before we started doing this thinking about stuff that you still need to do today, I wonder if you're still thinking that, or are you noticing all the different color things in your space in this moment? So I hope that resonates. It's a fun little way to just break a mental habit, a mental stream that's not helping move you forward. So after you do that, you could just take a couple of deep breaths, and you can smile, because smile releases the happy hormones, and it lets your body know that you're safe, in a safe place. And then you can visit whatever it is that you were anxious or stressful about, and see if now is the time to address it, or if you just need to put a pin in it. So that gives you the ability to get back into your thinking brain so that you can know what your next best step is. So that was my tool.
I love that. That really, it's so simple, but so powerful in taking your mind, calming it down, and physically moving in your body with your eyes. Like, oh, what do I see that's, orange, yellow, blue, green, brown? It's like, it's amazing, because it literally diffuses that ramp up of going into that rabbit hole of now what, now what, now what. So it worked for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the breath work is another one. Just the act of taking breath, because it's tangible and physical. It takes us out of that overwhelm, or what can be a lot of overwhelm, and puts us back in our body. And that's when we have the choice to choose to respond and be creative and loving to ourselves. That is a beautiful thing. And I'm so glad that everyone is sharing so much in the chat about things they've found color-wise. Does anyone have any questions or more comments that you want to ask Nicole and I as we are starting to wrap up our time a little bit here? Something. Does anyone have any questions that you would like to ask or something that you want to share that came up to you during our conversation here today?
Yeah, and while y'all are doing that, I'll read some of the things that did come up. I love it.
Oh,
Multicolor browns, orange, white, black, shirt, necklace, tiger's eye. I love it. Serena says that physical act, eyes peering around, that can be such a powerful, easy way to settle the reactive mind for sure. Irene found her orange, the Winnie the Pooh.
nice.
And Leah says, sometimes I get distracted. Squirrel. Maybe that's my stress response. You know what? That's very possible. I notice when I'm willingly doing my dishes, there must be something I'm stressed about.
Right?
Dishes are my squirrel at that point. That's a good observation, Leah.
Yeah. And another thing that I guess that comes up, because I've had a busy weekend with my family and graduation, and it can be easy, again, to get caught up in your mind about the time, the task, the timeline task that you can come at, be disconnected from enjoying the moment. And the only moment we have is the moment we're in, this one. Us being together here on this panel. I have received, just by being in the room today as a collaborator with you and from everybody on the show, just really just overwhelming care and support. That if I were in my head about what am I going to say, I hope everybody that I would have missed out on that. So giving yourself the gift of really being in the moment and receiving whatever that moment is meant to teach you, support you, or share. That's a big deal. I guess that ties in with focusing on leaning into calm and peace, no matter what is going on in the external aspect of life. Oh yeah, nature helps me. Following surroundings, looking for scenery. Yes, I hear you, Wendy. That is my go-to, is being able to be outdoors in nature, or even if I can't be, opening my window and hearing the call of birds now that the spring has come back where we live. So
I love that. And I see Serena has a question as well.
yeah.
Any tips I'll read the full thing since the comments won't be shared on the live. It says, having an action step to follow the grounding is really standing out for me. Any tips for helping establish that now what step? Yeah. So, and this is, cultivating these types of practices, it's helpful to have it, to do them when you're not in panic mode or worry mode first, right? So that you can build that muscle of, this is what I do. The first, for establishing that, having an intention for the day in and of itself. So because I know these would be like situational, right? So having an intention, even just saying, when I feel myself start to get anxious, my intention is to get my nervous system back.
Care and support. That if I were in my head about what am I going to say, I hope everybody that I would have missed out on that. So giving yourself the gift of really being in the moment and receiving whatever that moment is meant to teach you, support you, or share. That's a big deal. I guess that ties in with focusing on leaning into calm and peace, no matter what is going on in the external aspect of life. Oh yeah, nature helps me. Following surroundings, looking for scenery. Yes, I hear you, Wendy. That is my go-to, is being able to be outdoors in nature, or even if I can't be, opening my window and hearing the call of birds now that the spring has come back where we live. So,
I love
yeah,
that. And I see Serena has a question as well.
yeah,
Any tips I'll read the full thing since the comments won't be
yeah.
shared on the live. It says, having an action step to follow the grounding is really standing out for me. Any tips for helping establish that now what step? Yeah. So, and this is, cultivating these types of practices, it's helpful to have it, to do them when you're not in panic mode or worry mode first, right? So that you can build that muscle of, this is what I do. The first, for establishing that, having an intention for the day in and of itself. So because I know these would be like situational, right? So having an intention, even just saying, when I feel myself start to get anxious, my intention is to get my nervous system back aligned again. And just knowing that can help you start the grounding or the scanning or the whatever, because it'll kind of, you're feeding that to your subconscious to remind yourself, oh, this is what I want to do. This is where I want my system to go, if that makes sense. And I know Nacy has some as well.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, just, pausing, giving yourself an intentional pause, and with loving deliberateness, tapping into your own wisdom. I find that our body, mind, and spirit have our back always. And even when we think, I have no clue, there's a place deep within us. As I found when I was, losing hair and insomnia, that came to me. Nobody said, oh, you need to work on having more calm and peace. Even if somebody told me that, I would have been like, okay, really? That's not going to work. Really? But I had a moment. It was meant to be. And what came to me in that moment when I paused was calm and peace. So I invite all of you to really lean in to your own beautiful divine inner wisdom that is just there, and that is going to guide you on what you need in that moment. And that is that moment by moment step. It is within you, and it's true and real. Trying to think. Yeah, and then Eileen made a comment here. Getting anxious has to do with fear. When we're in fear, we're not having trust in the universe or the way. We can get back by asking ourselves, what if I knew that everything is going to work out? Even imagining that might be true and will immediately offer us calm. Yes. So instead of focusing on what I don't know or what's about to happen, what if I knew that everything is going to work out? Then what? That is, I love that, Eileen. That is, again, getting out of that overactive, overanalyzing heaviness of the mind, and wow, tapping into your own inner wisdom and what you do know is truth. Is there anything else? Thank you. That we have to add to our sharing before we close? Do we feel complete? Is there something else that needs to come up or has just come up here?
I know Anna shares maybe having a set of core values of what you want to experience in life. So you go to that list: joy, fun, balance, peace, etc. So I love that. Serena says, that makes sense. Thanks, Nicole. Continuing my day is actually a really solid reminder. And to you, Nacy, she says, thanks. Lean into calm and peace to follow the inner voice to the next step. I love that. And what you just said a moment ago, Nacy, reminds me when I have clients and I ask a question, what about this, blah, blah, blah. And they say, I don't know. I invite them to not say, I don't know, because that really blocks off the ability to get to an answer, right? Say, even if you don't know, just say, I know, and just sit and let it unfold in its own time. It will come. as long as you say, I know. That's what I do. When I feel like I don't know something, it's like, I know. I just don't
Yeah.
maybe not know at this moment, but I know.
Ask yourself, what do I need to know? Like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. What do I
Yeah.
need?
Yes.
Leah, if you can drop my links in the chat and Nicole's as well. That way I can, I'm going to share. I have a free gift today that along with my profile chat that you can connect with me, I'm offering a free complimentary breakthrough to calm coaching experience. To get that, you will just simply email me, and in the subject line, you're going to put in breakthrough. So there, my link is in the chat. It's not highlighted for some reason, but if you scroll down, my Wellness Universe profile is there, and just drop that. You can copy and paste that. You can send an email to me and type in the word breakthrough in the subject line to get on my calendar to schedule that breakthrough to calm coaching experience. I appreciate all of you and your amazing energy of playing along and supporting us today. And I'm going to close this off, but Nicole, make sure to share your there's yours as well if you want to share about that.
Yes, the gift I'm offering is a stillness guide, and so I have some guided work in there. It's a workbook on creating a nighttime routine to set your morning up for a great morning, and then a morning routine to set your day up, and then there's midday, like a guided voice thing for like if you're having just a stressful moment. It's just you can step out for a couple minutes and just listen to me talk you through calming down, so to speak. And so that's what that guide is about. And feel free to connect to me, reach out if you have any further questions, so we can get to the root of some of these stressors, and so you don't have to deal with those things anymore. Life is still gonna life, but you'll have better way of, you'll be able to deal with them from a more clear place, from more clarity, instead of the fog that some of the unconscious things create. So
yeah, and as a reminder, thank you, Nicole. That was beautiful. As a reminder, our show today is Pay What You Can, donation based. If you feel called to make a donation, you can click right now. There's a link in the chat. You can click on that if you'd like to do that. And also, if you or someone you know is struggling with mental health issues, please seek help. Resources include mental health professionals, support groups, and hotlines. There's a link in the chat, an emergency resource list that you can click on that link and be guided and directed to receiving the best care and support for yourself or for another one. That's very important. Also, please be sure to leave a rating and review. You'll get a pop-up upon completion of this asking for that, and we really appreciate you taking a moment to do so, and hope you can give us a 5-star experience for that. Our next session begins at 2 p.m. Eastern Time today. This is a journey to calm and inner peace with expert Sharon Karn, who is going to be doing an amazing sound bath healing. She is amazing, and I will probably be on that myself. Just want to thank each and every one of you for showing up today, for coming on with myself and Nicole as part of our stress management reset and information. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time, effort, and energy in being here today. It's been our honor.